Hi, I'm Denise.
And I'm Julia.
And today we're going to share about Orie, which is launching in early Jan
2025.
2025.
Okay, come, let's go. Okay, some origins about Orie. Orie takes inspiration from the word Orie for origami and E for home. So basically the whole concept of Orie is to let it exude a quiet sense of luxury with depths and layers of shapes to unfold and experience within the development itself.
Nice. Okay, so basically, let me just talk a little bit about the project itself. Okay, there'll be 777 units total spread across 2 blocks, okay, Block 10 and Block 12, okay, and essentially, Orie itself, in terms of location, is located in Toa Payoh itself, and as you know, it's a very mature estate. It's only 5 stops to Orchard and also another stop to Serangoon and 1 other stop to Bishan. So you're really located in a really central location where everything's all around you in a mature estate itself.
Yeah, and I think from Orie, we are about 5 minutes walk to Braddell MRT.
Yep. It's a very short distance. Let me just show you guys. Okay, so it's really just 5 minutes walk to Braddell MRT station, and located within this area, you have a lot of F&B, a lot of shops for you to get your amenities from.
And of course, you have your market to do you have a wet market as well as a hawker center. So you have basically access to a lot of amenities nearby.
That's right. And in terms of Expressway, if you do drive, okay, you are basically just right next to CT, PIE, and the future North-South Highway, which intends to actually bring you down to town, within 20 minutes essentially. So you're very close to getting towards work if you work in the city itself.
So even when your Grab comes, even if you don't drive, it's still very, very convenient because we are located so close to the major highways.
Yeah. Okay, and in terms of schools, I'm sure this will be something that most parents will be very keen on. You're within 1 km to Pei Public School, Keng as well as First Toa Payoh. And in terms of secondary school itself, you have Raffles Girls, CHIJ Toa Payoh, and Raffles Institution. So it's a place that a lot of parents, for aiming these schools will want to stay long term, right?
So basically, if you do have a kid or wanting to start a family, you start off here at Pei Public School or at Keng School, and then you move on to Raffles Girls School or Raffles Institution, and then you move on to Raffles JC, which is all within the same area. So basically, you're looking at families that can potentially stay here for like 10, 12 years because that's the duration of education, right?
Basically from 6 to like 18 essentially. Wow. Right.
Okay, so one really special thing about the Orie is that it has these services for residents. So it really looks like it's those kind of like premium service apartment where you have like an arrival, welcome and assistance, reception service. You also have someone that can assist you with transport arrangement, and you can even borrow wheelchairs there. If you do have any visitors that come and who need wheelchair access, you don't have to rent it from any external vendor. There will be services like this provided to you.
Also, it's like a concierge service as well, right?
Yeah, and you only see this in like the super luxe areas of Singapore.
Correct. Like Orchard, all those more premium projects on that you actually have this kind of service.
Yeah, so this is really cool. I think the last time I saw this was in a development in Robertson Quay area.
Oh, I see. Nice. Okay.
So the Orie is a joint venture between 3 big developers. We have CDL, Fraser's Property, and Sekisui House. And they have done Martin Place Residences, and all these are very, very prestigious projects like your Canning Hill Piers, Irwell Hill Residences, Tembusu Grand, which is in District 15, and of course the one which everyone knows, Norwood Grand.
85% sold already, as well as Piccadilly Grand, which is fully sold already, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so most of these projects these developers handle are all fully sold out ones. Yeah.
And they're also very, very known for having good quality and good layouts in their development. But more on that later.
That's right. Now we move on to the site plan. So like I mentioned earlier, 777 units that spread across 2 towers, okay, from 1st to 40th floor. So essentially, right, when we look at the stacks, essentially the bigger units tend to be slightly on the outside, okay, whereas the smaller units, okay, tend to be slightly inwards. Okay, and actually we have a pretty good layout of 1 to 5 bedrooms that we'll be actually sharing with you in a short while. And this is the site plan itself. So Toa Payoh, as you know, is a mature estate, and surrounding it are largely old flats that are maybe 30 to 40 years old. That's why most of these old flats, right, the highest that they are built to maybe is 10 stories or even 22 stories. So for people who like an unblocked view, once you get something at Orie, if you choose a certain height, above a certain height, you can potentially actually get an unblocked view of the city or even towards the back itself. For example, example, right in front, right, the HDB blocks are only 4 stories because it's the market. So as long as you get something above maybe 6th floor, 7th floor, it could potentially clear all of it.
So at Orie itself, here's the site, and you can take a look at the different views that it will have. Primarily, we are looking at the northern view and the southern view. So if you have the northern view, you have the view towards Bishan and Ang Mo Kio. If it's the southern view, it's towards the CBD area. For the north view, if you're high enough, you also will be able to see the JB skyline. Let me show you. Okay, so for the northern view, this is how it looks like. This is the drone view based on level 35. And this is the southern view based on level 40. So you can see it's a very, very nice unblocked view. As to which one will the developer place a premium on, we'll show you more later.
Yeah. In fact, I saw the unit that was actually on high floor at Gem Residences. Actually on 30th floor, you can already see the marina, the flyer from a very far distance. So the south view is actually quite clear on a good day. Like when the weather is good and all that, you can actually see all the way out to the city itself. Okay, so now we actually move on to the unit mix of the project.
So for the unit mix, we have the smaller units here, which take up about 60% of the unit mix, and the bigger units here, which is the 3-bedroom premium towards the end to the 5-bedroom, which takes up about 40% of the unit mix. And you can see that the 3-bedroom size is 850 square feet, but do note that this is under the harmonization scheme. So it's actually about 5 to 7% bigger than what you see in the resale market today. So take, for example, if you're looking at a 1,000 square feet house, once you exclude the aircon ledge, you have to take away about like 5 to 7% of the total square feet of the house. But for this, because it's under the harmonization scheme, the aircon ledges are not included in the calculation of this 850 square feet.
So under harmonization, essentially, we can just kind of bump up the footage that you're actually deducting is about 5 to 7% for normal other, condos that don't have this, they're not under this scheme, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay, I see.
So without further ado, let's take a look at the different layout types and what you should look out for if you're looking to buy a unit in the Orie.
Okay, we'll start off with the 1-bedroom analysis. So 1-bedroom itself, there are 2 stacks, okay, essentially the A1S. It's 517 square feet, and basically once you step in, okay, towards the left is actually you're flanked by the kitchen, and on the right side, you actually have your study. Okay, and as you walk further down, essentially it's your dining and living space, and then the master bedroom itself. Okay, based on a price point of about 2,500, we're looking at about starting from 1.3 and up. And total, you actually have 78 units within this project itself. Okay, next I shall share about the 2-bed 1-bath, the analysis. Okay, so the 2-bed 1-bath, this is something really interesting. Although it's 592 square feet, once you enter, you actually get a semi-enclosed kitchen that comes with a window. It's very, very rare to find such a layout in the market. In fact, this is the first time I've seen a 2-bed 1-bath with a window in the kitchen itself. Most of the time it's actually enclosed and you don't actually get any ventilation in the kitchen. So you get 2 very good sized bedrooms, and then this is a traditional dumbbell layout that gives you a lot more space in the dining as well as living area. Okay, so you get your living and dining kind of separated, and it looks actually quite spacious and big. So this layout actually, what happens is that there are also 78 units up for grabs.
So Denise, with this window in the kitchen here, that will mean also there's a lot of natural light that's coming into the unit, and you'll be able to you'll be able to have natural light that's shining into the dining area as well, right?
That's right. You get light from here. You also have light from the rooms, okay? And you have light here, which is actually very rare because I have a listing for sale for 2-bed 1-bath. And from what I noticed, right, the kitchen side is always a wall. Okay, it's usually a wall. There's actually no ventilation. Whereas for here, let's say if you're cooking, you can open it and then you can actually, it's almost semi-enclosable. So you can actually let air out and all that. So there's more ventilation as well as, of course, more light in this area. Usually for 2-bed 1-bath, the walk-in, this area kitchen is actually much darker. Yeah, but for this layout, we can see that it's probably quite bright.
Yeah, this is actually an excellent layout for a 2-bed 1-bath. And you actually won't be able to tell that it's a 2-bed 1-bath unless you start to look for the bathroom.
Yeah, you can't really tell that this is 592 square feet, can you?
Yeah, right. It looks like a 600 plus square feet to 700 square feet to me, honestly.
So that's the benefit about harmonization, because essentially the AC ledge is actually not included in your square footage. So you're paying for what you get. Let me show you the other layout, stack 05. So this stack actually has an RC ledge that actually protrudes out. So RC ledge, when it protrudes out, it makes your room a little bit darker, and it comes on certain floors. So you either get a darker master room or a darker common room itself. So based on this, our prediction is that stack 15, which is actually facing CBD with the brighter rooms, will actually move first. Because what happens is that with this view and a brighter room itself, people are likely to opt for this rather than this with the RC ledge.
I think this RC ledge was probably built so that it can like help to cushion some of the noises that are coming from the road when it's facing Toa Payoh, right?
Yes, possibly. But also it makes the room a little bit darker lah. So it depends on your preference if you want to have this huge RC ledge over here because it's like a little shelter above your bedroom itself, ma.
Yeah, so I guess if you're the type that wants to sleep in every day, then this RC ledge one may be suitable for you.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Now, Julia, so do you think you'll get a 1+ study or a 2-bedroom for investment, like if you were to compare?
I guess you really need to look at the difference between the pricing between a 1+ study and a two-bedroom. So for the 2-bedroom, it's a 2-bed, 1 bath. So both of the units itself only have 1 bathroom. So if it's me and based on the price difference here, and it's going to be 180K difference just for one additional bedroom. To me, I feel that I will still stick with a 1+ study because typically the profile of people that buy a 2-bed, 1 bath and the profile of people that buy a 1+ study, they fall into the same group of people. So paying the 180K premium extra for this extra bedroom may not be worth it. And you, what do you think?
Actually, I have a 2-bed, 1 bath listing, and everybody who came to see it, when I asked them what else they're looking at, they're all looking at either 1-bedder or 2-bed, 1 bath. They're trying to compare, hey, should I make this, extra top up, in terms of monetary spend, okay, to get a bigger bedroom? Because you see, the study is actually tucked over here with an open concept kitchen. But the difference here, right, is that you get a much larger bedroom that can fit a queen size bed. So actually, for me, I'm of the different point of view. I feel that this layout would be quite attractive simply because of the 2 bedrooms being very squarish and the kitchen being semi-enclosable and with a window itself. So I actually feel, right, most of the own-stay buyers will like this because despite the increment and top-up, it's actually quite worth it for this space lah. That's my thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now let me do an analysis of the 2-bed, 1 bath, between Orie and its next best competitor, Gem Residences, which is slightly a bit older. It's TOP in 2019. So what happens is that between these two layouts, actually the sizing is the same, 592 square feet. Okay, let's take a look at Gem first. Gem, once you enter, is the very traditional like 1-bed plus study kind of layout. And then as you enter, you notice the 2nd bedroom, Julia. Do you see that? It can only fit a single bed there. Cannot fit queen size bed. Then once you enter here, your master, you can put a good size queen size bed. Whereas the Orie, as we mentioned, dumbbell style, once you enter, semi-enclosable kitchen and then good size bedrooms. Yeah, simply because of the harmonization in this project itself. That's why they're able to exclude the aircon ledge.
So basically, if the aircon ledge is excluded here, roughly it will be about 550 square feet if it's harmonized. So, well, honestly, between this layout at the Orie and the Gem Residence one, definitely the Orie's 2-bed, 1 bath layout is more superior to the Gem Residences one. And the fact that, natural light is able to enter the unit and you have a separate dining area here, which it's not really like sitting in the middle of your walkway going into the room.
Yeah. So this one looks more like a 1+ study, to be frank, right? Even though it's stated as a 2+ study.
Yeah, so in the resale market, especially once the Orie is completed, buyers will be looking at Gem Residences, which is just the next development next door to the Orie, and they will be comparing between the layouts of the 2-bed, 1 bath in Gem Residences and the 2-bed, 1 bath in the Orie. And definitely the Orie's layout is superior. So if you're an owner of a 2-bed, 1 bath in Gem Residences, now is probably the good time to start offloading your unit.
Yeah, maybe you want to ping us or DM us to find out more options from there. Okay, so let's move on to the 2-bed, 2 bath analysis. Okay, so 2-bed, 2 bath essentially 3 stacks itself: B2, B3, and B4S. B2 646 square feet, and then you have an enclosable kitchen and also slight upper cabinet space that I noticed over here, which can be quite interesting, where you can put cups and things like that. Then your B3 layout essentially is a non-dumbbell with the upper balcony, cabinet space slightly more limited. Okay, so this one is a more traditional layout. Once you enter, essentially it's like an open kitchen kind of concept. Then once you go in, your rooms are either on the left or right side. Okay, and then the B4S is the one with the study. So essentially when you enter, your study is on the left side, and then a kitchen on the right. And once you enter dumbbell style, rooms on either left or right side. Okay. So let's do a 2-bedroom analysis, okay? So for yourself, Julia, for these 2 layouts, right, okay, I estimate the gap to be 80K. So would you top up, 80K more to get a slightly, kind of different layout, basically, in this project itself?
So basically, the profile of people who are buying 2-bed, 2 bath will either be couples, singles, or small families, 1 to 2 children. They'll be able to accept this kind of size. So if we take the same PSF and we multiply that by the size, we're looking at about 1.61 million onwards, as well as 1.695 million onwards. And that's about an $80,000 difference. But the difference between the two is really lies in the kitchen here.
The kitchen itself.
But the fact is that for the smaller layout, the 6461, there's an option for you to actually enclose the kitchen with a door. Like, you know, those kind of glass see-through door. Where, however, with this, you don't really have that option. And if you were to try to enclose it, you will have a very small walkway space. So I'm thinking that actually this dumbbell layout is a lot more functional, and that premium of $80,000 difference minimally for units on the same level, one is B2 and the other is B3, I would think that the B2 is actually more worth it, and the B3 may not be worth this $80,000 price difference.
Yeah, it's like top up 80K more, then I cannot even enclose it. Whereas this one, right, I can do, like I may have cabinet space above the sink, right? So this one may be more worth it for the B2 layout. So those who are actually balloting, maybe you might want to go for the B2 layout instead of B3 layout itself.
So of course, this is based on the assumption that they are both going to be launched at the same PSF, but the developer may price a premium on either of the different layout types and the different stacks. So it's very important to have someone to guide you on that day to be able to do this kind of analysis with you to ensure that you're not unnecessarily paying extra for something which is not functional.
That's right. Okay, now let's take a look at the 2-bed. Just now you mentioned B3 and now versus B4 itself. Okay, so essentially, would you top up more for the study that's tucked at the corner? Because now we look at it, the difference may be only about 55K.
So basically now the difference, that 55K, the extra that we're paying is really into the study. So I would say that in this case here, actually for the extra study space, there have been instances where the developer actually pays about 100K premium or 100K difference for the additional study. So in this case, if it's 55,000 for this, it may be more worth it because for this kind of layout here, with this kind of study, like I said, for small families, couples, and singles who are used to living in a house with a utility room, this study here can be converted into a utility room as well, or it can also be used as a work from home office. Whereas for the 678, you don't really have much of an option to have a work from home area or much space for you to store your knickknacks and your toilet rolls and whatnot.
So this room is actually like a flexi room essentially that most people can actually use as like storeroom, or if they have a helper, live-in helper or whatever, this could serve as their room itself. So I would say those who are going for own stay would likely to be going for this layout because they want that room to be a bit more functional.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, now this is basically what we have done for you guys, a 2-bed comparison across all layouts, okay, and we have put the pricing above and we're going to share with you, the pricing and the loading. So basically 2-bedders, I've compared 2-bed 1 bath, 2-bed 2 baths, and then plus the 2-bed plus study. Essentially, right, what we notice is that the 2-bed 1 bath, it will start from estimated maybe about 1.48, okay, stack 15 is facing north, facing the road, while stack 5 is south facing towards the market and towards the city. So that'll be, like I mentioned, the more popular one. So for the B2646 layout, it starts from about 1.615 million. You have both stacks 11 and 1, and these two are both pool facing. So I believe these two will have some premium loading because they're also facing towards the pool where the developer are likely to price it a bit higher. Okay, next we have B3, which is the 678 square feet layout, and it's starting from about 1.695 million. Okay, stack 10 and 20, both are also pool facing. Okay, then lastly we have the B4S 700 square feet, the 2 plus study, so starting from about 1.75 million, stack 9 and 19, and both are also pool facing. So as you can see, the developer might be placing a lot of loading on the 2-bedders. If you notice the site plan, a lot of the 2-bedders are actually facing inwards to the pool itself. Now, let's say on the balloting day itself, investors, okay, which 2-bedroom would you want to choose? Okay, we work with CDL for quite a lot of projects, so we know, okay, essentially what we heard is that they like to place a certain standard premium across all the floor layouts. So let's assume that to be 10K. So let's say second floor is, 1.48, then third floor will be 1.49. So they place this 10K across the board for all the floors. And we assume that 21 level 21 will be about 1.67. So let's say on the balloting day itself, Julia, would you still continue sticking to a 2-bed 1-bath, or would you consider maybe opting out for a 2-bed 2-bath?
So basically for stack 5, it's the one with the very, very good view. The higher you go, the better view that you get. You get the view of CBD as well as possibly the flyer as in the view that we saw just now.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at it from a purely investment perspective, while the view is great, for the same budget, I'll be able to get 0701 at about 1.665 million. So, and I get a 2-bed 2-bath. I would think that for a 2-bed 2-bath, you do have a wider pool of future buyers that you can sell it to. So if on that day, on the balloting day, you were faced with a decision whether or not to get the high floor at 1.67, and if level 7 is going at approximately the same size, you may want to consider getting a 2-bed 2-bath as you widen your pool of future buyers to sell to in the future.
That's right. Okay. So basically you would choose like to opt out and look at other possible options. So like I mentioned on balloting day, it could be very stressful. So it's important to have proper guidance, to have someone by your side to say, hey, let's strategize, let's re-strategize. Maybe we can go for something on 7th floor where you actually pay lesser for a 2-bed 2-bath instead of sticking to a high floor good view 2-bed 1-bath, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's move on to the 3-bedroom analysis.
Okay. So there are a few bedroom types for the 3-bedroom. The first being type C1, which is 850 square feet. If we're looking at a price of a starting PSF of about 2,500 PSF, we're looking at about 2.125 million and onwards. So there are 2 stacks here, stack 6 and stack 16. One will be north facing, and north facing you'll be able to, the higher you go around level 40 or level 30, you'll be able to see even the skyline of JB. And south facing will be towards our Singapore city skyline. So the difference between stack 16 and stack 6 is that we feel that the developer will place a premium on the south-facing stacks because, firstly, it is unblocked and it is not facing any major road. For stack 6, even though the view is very good, you must be prepared that there will be a considerable amount of road noise, as Lorong 1 Toa Payoh is a major road with a lot of traffic that passes through every day.
Lorong 1 is actually quite a major road itself. I think 6 or 8 lane road, and that one will lead you out to the highway. So that's why, right, essentially that stack will have some road noise, maybe even highway noise itself. Whereas the other one that's facing south is actually very quiet, facing towards the market side. And once you cross like maybe 6th or 7th floor, you're likely to have an unblocked view because the market is only 4 stories, maybe with a pitch roof.
So for the 850 square feet layout, I think that it's a very, very efficient and a very good layout. And this is my first time seeing an 850 square feet layout that comes with a store.
Wow.
So you walk in here, you have a kitchen which is enclosable. Walk into the kitchen, you have a store. Then you have your common bedrooms on the left as well as your master bedroom on the right. And you have a very typical size separate dining area and living area, and then your balcony. So what's really great about this layout is that it is very, very efficient. A lot of the 850 square feet layouts, take for example, like the ones in Affinity, all the bedrooms are tucked on one side. So you actually do have a bit of a walkway that you need to walk through, and that actually forms part of your square footage as well. So for this here, it will also be very, very suitable for upgraders from the nearby HDBs that have achieved their minimum occupation period, because in, for example, a 4-room flat or a 5-room flat, it does come up with a household shelter already, and this unit itself will come with a store, will come with 3 proper bedrooms, and it's just in a size and in a format that is very, very palatable to a lot of future buyers.
This is like the 3-bedroom dumbbell layout, basically. And first time that I see with store, really, I've never seen one with store before. So this is actually pretty amazing because of the harmonization.
So this is really, really good because I believe that the developer also knows that there are going to be many upgraders coming from Toa Payoh, Bishan, Ang Mo Kio, and all, even Serangoon, who want to move a little bit closer to town or move to Toa Payoh area because of the schools and sell their HDB, but want to let it feel like an upgrade where, you know, you don't have to compromise on your storage space, etc. But not to overstretch your budget. I think this 850 square feet layout is one to look out for. So we also have the 3-bedroom premium, which is the type C2 and the type C2A. The difference is in the size as well as the size of the foyer area here. Stack 13, you will need to buy, if you're looking for an unblocked view, ideally you should be looking at stack level 15 and above to clear. And for stack 7, it's actually nearer to the drop-off point of the development. So and it's also facing Toa Payoh Lorong 1. So it's going to be a little bit more noisy. However, it's also bigger. So if we look at the type C2, the differences between type C2 and C2A it really lies in the foyer space. For the type C2A, the foyer space is actually bigger. For C2, the foyer space is smaller. And actually this layout is really, really good because the moment you come in, first things first, you can leave your front door open, and even if a neighbor were to stand here, try to look in, you won't have any chance of any neighbor looking in. So you really have this whole space here, which is very private. Another thing is that the moment you come into the kitchen and yard area is combined, and it's a very longish layout with a yard washroom as well. And you also have a household shelter. So the difference between this layout and the initial layout that I showed just now is that for the 850 square feet layout, it's a store. And for the 1023 layout and the 1044 layout, it's a household shelter. So basically it's a bomb shelter lah. So you have that tucked inside the kitchen, and everything that you need for your storage and cooking will all be here. So if we're looking at the estimated prices that the developer will be selling it at, again, assuming that they're all going to be launched at starting from 2,500 per square feet. For the type C2, we're looking at 2.55 mil. And the type C2A, we are looking at about 2.61 mil. So if you ask me, which one will the developer place a bigger premium on, it will likely be this. However, this will give you a little bit bigger space in the foyer area, which may or may not be something that many buyers would find that it is worth paying for. So in the 3-bedroom layout, there's also a dual-key layout. So this dual-key layout, when I saw it, I was very, very impressed because in the area, in Gem Residences, there is also a dual-key layout. And this dual-key layout is really very different from the dual-key layout of Gem Residences. This dual-key layout here is very suitable for own stay, whereas for the Gem Residences one, it's more for investors. I'll show you the layout later. So again, if we come in through here, this area here, it's a total separate area. You have this foyer space, which is the space that separates the two units together. So this is great for people who have the budget and who are primarily looking for a 2-bed, 2-bath, but also want to rent out a portion of their property without having to incur ABSD. So you have this. You have your studio area here, a pantry, and you also have a bath. Then you walk in through the other entrance of the unit. You have a separate living and dining. You have a kitchen, which is enclosable with windows, and you're allowed to enter into the balcony from the kitchen and from the living, and you have 2 bedrooms here. So this entire layout here, plus a household shelter, is really an excellent 2-bed, 2-bath layout, plus household shelter. So again, for smaller families who are upgrading from their HDBs and looking to find a way to have a property that can also generate rental income for them, this layout is going to be excellent.
Actually, this layout reminds me of Frasers. You know, Frasers used to have this kind of layout where you can actually access the kitchen, as in the balcony from the kitchen itself. So it's a very Frasers kind of layout. And what happens is that I see these also for multi-gen families.
Yes.
You know, like their parents can stay in one side and then the kids can stay in another. So there's a bit of separation, but they can come together for dinner and all that. So it gives a bit more, kind of multi-gen feel also for this kind of layout itself.
Yeah, so this is really great, and you can even see in the studio area, right? It's a very, very generous space.
Very big space, basically.
So if you compare Gem Residence and the Orie, they both have dual-key layouts. the Orie's dual-key layout is really more suitable for own stay. If you look at Gem Residence, this is the entrance to the house. Let's take a look at the bedroom first. We have one bedroom here, the second bedroom here, as well as the master bedroom here. So if you were to enter into the first bedroom, it will be this way. Then you have your kitchen and your bedroom, and then you have a bathroom here. If you enter into this one, you would go this way, then you have your kitchen, your master bedroom, and your bath. To enter the final one, you go this way, then you have your kitchen, your bath, and your bathroom. And all three of the bedrooms will lead out to a balcony. However, if plans change from an investment perspective, if you decide that, it's time for me to live in this place, it's a little bit difficult for you to convert this layout into a more livable layout for a family or even for a couple with one kid to stay, because there are way too many different twists and turns within the house.
There's a lot of hacking. There's a lot of hacking that needs to be done, basically.
Yeah,
readjustments and all.
And not all the walls can be hacked. So this cannot be hacked. This cannot be hacked. So you will always have this twist here right smack in the middle of the house. So there won't be really an area for you to be able to congregate and chill out, even if you wanted to host like your friends or family.
Or whatever.
Yes. However, if we look at the layout for the dual-key, as I explained just now, this entire area here is a perfect 2-bed, 2-bath, and it even comes with a household shelter for storage, good for downgraders or even upgraders looking to find a way to have a property that generates rental income for them while they live on
the main unit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we look at the 3-bedroom types and we estimate it to be about 2,500 PSF, the 850 square feet will be going about 2.125. The 1,023 square feet will be going about 2.55. 1,044, 2.61. And the 1130 dual-key layout will be going at 2.875. So if you ask me, this 850 square feet layout is the layout to look at, because this is a very, very affordable quantum for future buyers to buy from you. So if you were to buy something at 2.12 today, how much do you think you would sell it for?
Maybe 2.4 or 2.5.
Yeah, so even at 2.4, 2.5 is at a quantum which is very, very acceptable to future buyers. How is it acceptable? I will show you more later in my exit strategy calculation. However, if you are looking at owning 2 properties without ABSD, then this is something that you might want to look at. Because if you're looking at a 2-bed, 2-bath, which is probably going to go at about 1.8, you're looking at about $1 million for this entire studio area. So you are able to get 2 properties for one price, and it's going to be a lot more worth it.
Yep, and I think studios in the area can rent out easily, maybe 2.8 to about 3K plus within Toa Payoh, because it's very close to the central. It's 5 minutes walk to Braddell and only 5 stops to Orchard. Yeah.
So basically, if you're able to rent out this studio portion of the unit, it helps you to pay off your mortgage for this.
It helps to defray part of your mortgage itself. That could be very helpful. Yeah.
At the very least, it will help to defray the interest and your MCST fees.
That's right.
So I just shared about the different price points of the different possible starting prices of the 3-bedroom units in the Orie. But based on this, let's see what's available in the market. So we have Chuan Park. So if you have a budget of 2.5 to 2.7 million, this is your other alternative in the market. So let's take a look at Chuan Park's layout. So it's 1023 square feet, and because Chuan Park is an en bloc development, it doesn't need to go under the harmonizations. It was done before the harmonization scheme was released. So if you see here, you come in, you also have a foyer area. You have a very nice living and dining space, which is separate. And then you have a kitchen, which is enclosable. And you can, after you cook, straight away serve your food here. And then have your living and chill out space with the balcony. One thing very nice is also you have a household shelter here, which is again very good for HDB upgraders. This layout is also very good. However, this is smaller. So if you take away a 5 to 7% deduction in the overall size because it is not a harmonized project, you're looking at paying 2.6 to 2.7 million for a 951 square feet project. Whereas for Orie, it's 123 square feet. If you were to have a budget of 2.5 to 2.7 million dollars, this is your other option in the new launch market today. So Denise, can you tell me what's the difference between these two layouts?
Basically, right, for Chuan Park, because it's not harmonized, you have to deduct the 5 to 7% due to aircon ledge. So that comes up to about 951 square feet. So whereas for the similar pricing, right, at Orie, you can get something that's 1023 square feet with a yard as well. So as you can see, right, the kitchen is a lot longer. It's a bigger unit itself. So what happens at 1023 is the actual space footage that you're actually stepping on, rather than paying the same price for actually a 900 plus square feet unit.
Okay, cool.
Okay, now let's go on to the 4-bedroom analysis. Okay, so basically, right, we actually have 3 different layouts for the 4-bedroom. We have D1, which is 1216 square feet. Essentially, right, once you enter, is a little bit of a dry kitchen, and then you have a wet kitchen that leads on to a WC as well as a bomb shelter. Then once you step out, you have the kitchen, living, your dining space, and then your living area, and then all 4 rooms, okay, at one end, at one corner itself. So we're expecting that this layout, right, will actually come up to about 3 mil plus and up. Okay, the next other layout D2, okay, actually the difference is just at the walkway. One has a more narrow walkway, one has a more, I would say, squarish walkway itself. Okay, so stack 8 is pool facing, and the difference really is in the foyer itself. Whereas for stack 17, you have a bit more privacy because your neighbors can't really see where you actually, your living room and your dining area itself. And then from 5th or 6th floor, you can actually clear the HDB view. So for this stack itself, once you actually face south, okay, as long as you clear maybe say 6th, 7th floor, you'll be actually able to have a pretty unblocked view because you're actually facing the Toa Payoh market itself. Next, we have the D3S, which is actually the 4-bed premium plus study. Okay, so based on 2005 PSF, we're estimating it from 3.417 and up. Okay, so for stack 18, this is actually pool facing. And what I find interesting is basically the study room. Okay, once you enter similar layout, the dry kitchen, then the wet kitchen, as well as the dining and the living space, and all bedrooms on the left side. But what I find interesting is actually the study. If you look at it, the study is actually the same width as the bedroom itself, which means that, right, this can almost be a bedroom, can probably fit a single bed already. So I can call this maybe a 5-bedroom itself also, like a mini 5-bedroom, I would say. Okay, so now actually what I'll do is I'll compare between both, okay? So essentially, like, if you are deciding between the 4-bed, okay, versus the 4-bed premium plus study, based on 2005 PSF, essentially you're paying about 400k more for an extra study space itself, okay? So what happens is that for those who really need that space, they can consider maybe between the 4-bed premium or either the 5-bedder by topping up slightly for a bigger space. But in terms of walkway space and all that, it's all pretty similar. Yeah, if you look at it, because it's basically, horizontal. Once you enter, it's basically living and dining space. But of course, I do see that the space here for the 4-bedroom premium is slightly bigger because your table is actually placed horizontally, while this one is placed vertically. Okay, now let me compare the resale of 4-bedroom units within the area itself. So as we can see, Orie, right, at TOP will be the newest condo over there because it's only going to be 10 years old. Gem will be about almost 10 already. Trevista will be, and Oleander will be roughly about 20 to 30 years old. Okay, so let me compare the 4-bedroom at Trevista itself. Trevista 4-bedroom is huge, it's massive. It's about 1,700 square feet versus Orie at 1,216. So based on this, right, where do you think the difference actually is? Do you prefer something that has a bigger square footage space?
Denise, Trevista has bay windows. It was from the bay windows era, right?
That's right, the bay windows era. There was the 2000s kind of timing, okay? So let's take a look at all the bay windows. I've actually shaded it out for you, okay? So this 1701 square feet actually includes all these bay windows. Look, there's a balcony behind the kitchen.
Giant balcony.
Giant balcony. Then there's actually bay windows in all rooms, even the toilets itself. And even a planter box over here, don't know plant what, but basically you have extra space. This was actually given to the developer for free, but they charge buyers for it. Whereas you see, if I minus out everything, right, it's almost as efficient as the Orie itself at 1216 square feet. I mean, where did the space all go? It's basically all in the shaded areas lah. Okay, so now let me show you the actual pricing of what is being priced in the market. As we can see, the 4-bedroom at that 17 plus square feet, right, is all asking about 3.4 to even 3.6 million. And this is the balcony and the kitchen that I mentioned. So in the end, people just put their items here, lor. It's really a very inefficient space. Like they put their chair, their boxes all outside. And even for the rooms, yes, they can put queen bed, but in order to maximize maximize it, you might have to eat into the bay windows itself.
So basically, you actually have to incur extra costs to pay for carpentry, which is built in, which your future buyers may not like.
Yeah.
Just so that you can use up the space inside the room.
Correct. You have to spend extra on carpentry because this is actually customized. You cannot actually you have to customize the bed frame below, then you can put the bed on top. Yeah.
So how much would the 1216 square feet cost in the Orie?
Okay, as I mentioned, right, the Orie 1216, we are estimating it from about 3 mil plus onwards based on 2005 PSF.
So if we compare that to what is available in the market today, it's actually almost going on par in terms of quantum, right?
That's right, because for Trevista, they're already going at about 3.4 to 3.6, and take in mind that this is actually a much older project. The TOP was about 10 plus years. So currently it's built in 2012. I would say now it's about 12, 13 years already.
Denise, is there really a market for 4 bedrooms in Toa Payoh?
That's what I thought also, because it's actually an old estate, right? Maybe, whether people still want to move here. And actually when I check, right, for Gem Residences, which is currently about 4 to 5 years old, right, look at the 4 bedrooms and how they're performing in the market. I mean, they are averaging roughly maybe say 5 to 600K in terms of profit. Some even made 700K plus, okay? So there's a few reasons why, of course. Firstly, right, it's school zone. It's not just 1 km to Pei Chun. I mean, after attending Pei Chun, I need to graduate and go to secondary school, right? So basically, right, RI is there, okay? Then there's also RJC that have shifted, Raffles Girls that also shifted to consolidate in the area itself. There's also CHIJ Toa Payoh and JC Catholic High, all in the area itself. And plus, you also only 5 stops to Somerset. So this area, although it's a so-called old people zone and all that, it actually attracts a lot of people because it's the new hub for education. You can actually be here for the next maybe say 12 years because of all the schools that are located in the zone itself.
I see. That's really cool.
Okay, now let me compare Orie as well as Gem Residences. I actually transacted a 4 bedroom at Gem Residences in 2023. So let me show you the difference, okay? So basically, right, this Gem Residences is 1249 square feet, okay? Versus Orie, which is 1216. Okay, what happens is that when you enter, this Gem Residences actually has a U-shaped kitchen, a small balcony at the back, and a small store. And then what I like is really the landscape living and dining space, and essentially the 4 proper bedrooms. And in fact, you notice something interesting. You have a junior master in one of the rooms itself.
Oh, that's really nice. But just now when you were going through the Orie 4 bedroom, there's no junior master, right?
Yes, because what happens is that when you enter, you have actually a vertical like dining space and then your living room. And when you enter, all the rooms are tucked at one corner. Okay, but the thing is there is no junior master.
And there's also no possibility to create a junior master because the walls in Orie are not hackable, correct?
Yeah, because you see, the rooms are all one side, the toilets are all one side. Cannot do it that way. But whereas the toilets, one is this side and then one is the other side. So that's why it's possible to do that. So what happens is that for this layout, right, okay, for Orie 4-bedder, I actually would say I prefer the Gem Residences 4-bedder because I transacted it and I can see once you enter, right, this space, this landscape living room is actually very wide. Yeah, and you actually get a very good size, living space. And what I really like also is this junior master. In fact, that time my client actually had their in-law stay in this room. So at least there's an attached toilet to it, rather than let your in-law stay in one room, but then everybody has to use the same common bathroom.
So from basically what I'm hearing from you, Denise, is that usually for 4 bedroom is also for multi-generational living.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why I would say Gem Residences, this layout is actually much better. So those who are buying Orie 4-bedders, do look out next time when you want to exit. Gem Residences might be your next best competitor with a much stronger layout.
So basically what do people look out for when they're looking at buying a 4 or 5 bedroom? First thing will be multi-generational living, where you stay with your in-laws or, grandchildren, when the grandchildren come over. It also needs to have a grand feeling. When you step in, like when Denise was sharing about Gem Residences layout, the moment you step in, you get to see a very, very grand, big area here. And the third is to have proper bedrooms.
Yep.
Proper bedrooms meaning it's able to fit queen size bed minimally. Because if there's going to be so many people living in the house, the space inside must be very livable. And usually people that buy 4 to 5 bedrooms are looking for long-term own stay. And like what Denise shared just now, Toa Payoh is the new education hub. You have so many good schools there. If you are a young family looking to move there, you're going to be staying there minimally around like 6 to 10 to 12 years. You can go from primary school to secondary school to JC, all from the convenience of Toa Payoh. So I'm really, really impressed by the 5-bedroom layout. Let me show you. Okay. So the one thing that we see in the 5-bedroom layout is a private lift. So you for the 5-bedroom. So for the 5-bedroom layout, you have the private lift. You come in from the private lift lobby. The moment you step in, you are able to see with your eyes the living and the dining, as well as a dry kitchen. So you get to see a very, very wide, big space when you step in. So you have that grand feeling. And of course, you also do have that private lift, which adds to the grand feeling as well. Then you have your bedrooms, bedroom 2, 3, 4, as well as a junior master with an ensuite. So this one ticks our boxes of having a grand feeling, having proper bedrooms, and it allows you to have multi-generational living because of the fact that there is a junior master here. You also have a back door, which your GrabFood delivery or your RedMart delivery can deliver to you here, and then it would be straight into the kitchen where you can start to plate your food and store everything in your household shelter. You also have a yard with a small little yard toilet here. It stands at 1453 square feet, and if we multiply that by the estimated PSF, we're looking at 3.63 million. And there's only one stack in the whole of the Orie that is a 5-bedroom unit, and this is the only stack with a private lift, making it very, very rare.
So just now we saw that the 4-bedroom gem, actually the layout is really good. What about the 5-bedroom gem residences layout?
Oh yes,
Did you compare anything?
Yes, I did. So actually, gem residences also has a 5-bedroom layout. However, the 5-bedroom layout in gem residences may not be superior to the Orie's one. So
why?
Let me show you. Okay, so this is Gem Residence's 5-bedroom layout. It stands at 1313 square feet. And so that's approximately 1227 square feet if it's under the harmonization scheme. Okay, so we enter here. The moment you enter, you still need to walk down the long walkway, which you probably can go bowling here. Okay, so you walk down the whole long walkway, then you have a landscape living and dining. This, yes, definitely is a very grand feeling. Then you have a balcony here, which you can chill at. What would have been a lot nicer if the balcony was bigger, so that a big family with 5 bedrooms will be able to have more people there.
Yeah, small balcony for such a big house, so funny.
The thing about gem residences is that they have a lot of balcony. So you see, there's one balcony here, and then there's also another balcony at the kitchen
for drying clothes, ma.
Yeah, so it's a bit like a landed living, but it's a bit of wasted space lah. So for Orie, it's a yard. For gem residences, it's a balcony where the yard is probably at. The biggest thing which stands out for gem residences is the two out of 4 of the common bedrooms cannot fit a queen bed. So it will be okay if you have very young children because they don't need that much space. But once they start to be of school-going age and they need to have a study in the room, a study area in the room, then these 2 bedrooms will become too small. Of course, you do have the option to hack away this wall here and combine these 2 rooms to become one. However, that will mean that you're looking at probably a 4-bedroom, which then again defeats the purpose of having a 5-bedroom unit. Also, there is no dry kitchen. You do have the option to hack away this wall here and create a dry kitchen, but the fact is that if you look at the layout on its own, first, you have a bit of a wasted space here. In this long walkway, you don't have a dry kitchen. It doesn't add to that very grand feel of what a 5-bedroom should be. Whereas when you look at Orie's 5-bedroom layout, it basically ticks off all the boxes of why anyone would want to spend over 3 million buying a 4 or 5-bedroom.
Then Julia, what about the other 5 bedrooms in the new launch market? How's the pricing like actually, the layout and all that?
Okay, so basically your only other option if you're looking for a 5-bedroom which is near the Orie will be Chuan. So let's take a look at the difference in the layouts of the 5-bedroom units here. So you enter here. So for Chuan Park, there is no private lift. Orie has private lift. You enter here, you have to do a zigzag to enter, and the moment you enter, on your right will be the household shelter. And then you have your living and dining, but you also have a dry kitchen. You do also have the option to hack away the wall here to enlarge your common area or living room. So you do have the options to hack away some of the walls here, as it's not the new way of construction. One thing that's really nice about Chuan Park's layout is that the junior master is on the opposite side of the house, and then you have the other 4 bedrooms here. So this will be a lot more suitable for families who have multi-generational livings. So the in-laws or the grandparents can stay on this side and they can get the peace and quiet. Or if you are parents with many children, then maybe you may choose to sleep on this side so that you get your peace and quiet. Okay, then for the Orie, as you know, it has a private lift and a service door. All the common bedrooms can fit queen, and it also has a junior master room, but everything is all tucked on the side. So if you're looking for something of like a dumbbell layout, you may want to consider Chuan Park. Or if you prefer for all the rooms to be tucked on one side and to have that really grand feeling, then you may consider the Orie's 5-bedroom layout. So looking at the price difference comparison to see whether is it really worth it to pay the extra for the 5-bedroom, if you're looking at the very basic 4-bedroom layout, which is the type D1, you're looking at 3.04 million onwards. If you're looking at the 4-bedroom premium plus study, which we've already shared that the layout may not be as good as next door development gem residences, you're looking at paying at about 3.4 million and onwards. For the 5-bedroom, if we multiply by the same 2,500 PSF, we're looking at about 3.63 million. So if you're looking at 3.04 to 3.6 million, the difference is about almost 600K for an additional bedroom. So 600K for an additional bedroom, whether is it worth it? Whether do you have people who are actually willing to buy this? Let me show you.
Yeah, so who will probably buy up this 4 or 5 bedroom down the line? What will be the exit strategy be for 4 and 5 bedroom owners?
Okay, so let's take a look at the pricing. So Denise, if you were to buy a 4-bedroom at about 3.04 million, how much will you look to sell it at in the future?
Maybe 3.4, 3.5, thereabouts.
Okay. So at 3.4, 3.5, is that a price point that many people can accept, and can they afford the down payment for the house? So the example that I use, right, will be possibly Trevista 2-bedroom owners. So who are the future buyers of Orie? Number one, it will be upgraders who love Toa Payoh. You have children, you're used to stay there.
Yeah.
You have children who are going to school there in IJ Toa Payoh or going to Raffles. It's nearby, it's also near the town, near the CBD. You have your BTO upgraders. You have your school-going kids, as you know, it's in the school cluster, and you want to stay close to town, but not really in town. So I take the Trevista 2-bedroom owners. The average entry price of the owners of the 2-bedroom were about 1.15 million back in 2011-12. They would I assume that they take a 75% loan. That will be 862,500. 18 years later, which is when the Orie will be ready, they will have paid off about 407,000 in their bank loan. So they will have a balance of about 454,000 to pay a balance loan on their current 2-bedroom unit. Assuming that we sell their place for about 1.7 million, and it's already in today's pricing. Actually, I took a more conservative price for the 2-bedroom unit. There are actually 2-bedroom units which have already transacted about 1.8 million in Trevista.
Asking also, right, is 1.8 plus, I saw. Yeah, but we're just being conservative.
Yeah, so I took a super conservative, it's going to be 18 years later. We don't know how the market is going to be, but let's just assume that, it's going to be sold at 1.7. After I minus agent fees as well as legal fees, the expected sales proceeds are about 1.206 million. So at 1.206 million, if you're looking at a property price of 3.5,
yeah,
the
3.5.
total outlay required will be your 25% down payment, as well as your stamp duties, as well as your legal fees. This is the total outlay that you're looking at, 1.027 million. A Trevista 2-bedroom owner looking to upgrade into a property that is about 3.5 million, they will need an outlay of 1.027. And with the sale proceeds that they have, will give them balance funds of about $179,000.
Oh, so they still can afford to buy my place. Okay, that's good news for me. Maybe I should sell higher. I sell 3.6 instead. Yeah, because they still have enough money to do rental, right?
Yes.
Maybe I should sell higher, okay? Let's plan to sell higher. Okay.
So your exit strategy is really, really important, and you need to be able to know who your future buyers of whatever unit type that you choose. On balloting day itself is very important, but before that, a lot of homework and a lot of analysis needs to be done. If you're looking for someone to help to guide you through this process, as I know it can be very confusing, you can look for Denise or myself, and we're very happy to serve you.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching through this 1 hour plus analysis of the Orie as well as the surrounding developments. If you're looking for someone to guide you through this process, Denise and I are here for you. You have our numbers. It's in the link below. Contact us and we'll hear from you soon.
See you. Bye.